current fuel rate 900 pounds per hour. About 20 minutes out from Bingo.
Deadliest Catch has been one of the most interesting reality shows ever. However, with Sig Hansen's presence on the show, things are about to go haywire. Will his actions wreck Deadliest Catch? Let's find out. In this video, get ready to explore some secrets about Sig Hansen that are hidden from the public. That's not all. We are taking a drive into Deadliest Catch and see what they do. Ensure you watch till the very end to get the full details. Are you ready? Let's go. Deadliest Catch. Deadliest Catch is not just a TV series. It is one of the most watched and talked about TV series. On April 12, 2005, Deadliest Catch premiered on the Discovery Channel. The American reality television series follows the lives of crab fishermen aboard fishing vessels in the Bering Sea during the Alaskan king crab and snow crab fishing seasons. It's a beautiful sight to watch as they showcase their skills and struggles on camera. The base of operations for the fishing fleet is the Aleutian Islands port of Dutch Harbor, Alaska. One of the questions frequently asked is, why is the show titled Deadliest Catch? According to reports, the show's title is derived from the inherent high risk of injury or death associated with the work. As beautiful as the work looked on camera, it was also deadly. After Deadliest Catch premiered on the Discovery Channel, it gained more fame and popularity and is currently aired worldwide. When the show started its first season, they started with 10 episodes, and the finale aired on June 14, 2005. After the first season proved successful, they decided to produce more seasons, and subsequent seasons have aired on the same schedule from April to June or July every year since. The series, which tells the story of a fisherman, also reveals the dangers on deck to the fishermen and camera crews. People in this line of work love the show more because of its ability to make the world know that the sea is not as fun and exciting as it looks. On the show, the fishermen duck heavy crab pots swinging into position, maneuver hundreds of pounds of crab across a deck strewn with hazards, and lean over the rails to position pots for launch or retrieval, while gale-force winds and high waves lash the deck constantly. Each episode focuses on a specific story, situation, or theme that unfolds on one or more boats. Also, in contrast, there are side stories that are used to hook their viewers. They often delve into the backgrounds and activities of one or two crew members, especially the greenhorns on several boats. Additionally, the fleet's captains are prominently featured, highlighting their camaraderie with fellow captains and their relationships with their crews, as well as their competition with other boats in the pursuit of crab. Some of the common themes discussed on the show include friendly rivalries among the captains, particularly between Sig Hansen of the Northwestern and the FV Time Bandits Jonathan and Andy Hillstrand, and the familial ties that run throughout the fleet. The ties were between the brothers Sig, Norm, and Edgar Hansen, who own Northwestern. Northwestern discusses the Hillstrand brothers and Jonathan's son Scotty on the F over V Time Bandit. The brothers Keith and Monty Colburn of The Wizard. Other themes also include the stresses of life on the Bering Sea and the high burnout rate among greenhorns. That's not all. Because Alaskan crab fishing is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, the U.S. Coast Guard rescue helicopters are stationed at Integrated Support Command Kodiak and their outpost on St. Paul Island. It was near the northern end of the crab fishing grounds, and they are frequently shown reaching crab boat crew members who fall victim to the harsh conditions on the Bering Sea. Also, the U.S. Coast Guard Rescue Squad was featured prominently during the episode surrounding the loss of F over V Big Valley in January 2005, the loss of F over V Ocean Challenger in October 2006, and the loss of F over V Katmai in October 2008. Original Productions keeps a camera crew stationed with the Coast Guard during the filming of the show in preparation for such occurrences. An interesting detail about the show is that unlike other reality shows, it has no on-camera host. All the narrator does is provide commentary that connects the storylines as the show shifts from one boat to another. Discovery Channel voice artist Mike Rowe narrates the action for North American airings, And yeah, he did a perfect job at it. In the United Kingdom, voice artist Bill Petrie serves as narrator. The show transitions between boats using a mock-up radar screen. This screen shows the positions of the ships relative to one another and the two ends of the fishing grounds. The first is St. Paul Island to the north and Dutch Harbor to the south. Before Mike Rowe became the voice artist, he was originally supposed to be the one-camera host. Reports revealed that he appeared in taped footage as himself during the first season of shooting. However, as filming of the first season was nearing completion, Discovery greenlit production on another Rowe project, Dirty Jobs. This was done under the condition that Rowe chose only one show on which to appear on camera. Most of the footage Rowe shot during the first season became part of the first season's behind-the-scenes episode. Later, when the show got to its third season and was done, the show began to host a post-season behind-the-scenes miniseries entitled After the Catch. After the Catch became a round-table discussion featuring the captains relating their experiences filming the previous season's episodes. Apart from being an interesting show, Deadliest Catch has also undergone several measures by the producers to ensure its continued success. Also, they took into consideration that Deadliest Catch is a filmed record of everyday life in a stressful working environment and decided to censor gestures and language deemed inappropriate for television audiences. For example, under the U.S. television rating system, Deadliest Catch is rated TV-14 with L as a highlighted concern for inappropriate language. Also, for visual disguise of items such as finger gestures, bloody injuries, or non-featured crew member anonymity, the producers use the traditional pixelization or blurring. However, due to the volume of profanities used in the course of crew member conversation, the producers occasionally employ alternate methods of censoring profanities, such as using sound effects in place of the traditional bleep. Following the first season, the original broadcast episodes of the show used the Bon Jovi song Wanted Dead or Alive as the main theme. That's not all. Throughout the course of the show, the theme was eventually truncated, and following season 11, its use was replaced entirely. The show comes with numerous dangers and risks, and it successfully exposed these to the people. Let's explore that a little. According to records, commercial fishing has long been regarded as one of the most hazardous occupations in America. Later, in 2006, the Bureau of Labor Statistics ranked commercial fishing as the job occupation with the highest fatality rate, with 141.7 per 100,000. This was almost 75% higher than the fatality rate for pilots, flight engineers, and loggers, the next most hazardous occupations. Additionally, Alaskan king crab fishing is considered even more hazardous than the average commercial fishing operation. Why? The Bering Sea, where crab is fished, has some harsh conditions during the crab fishing season. According to the pilot episode, the death rate during the main crab seasons averages out to nearly one fisherman per week, while the injury rate for crews on most boats is nearly 100%. These dangers are heightened due to severe weather conditions, including fierce gales, rogue waves, and ice formations around the boat. Additionally, there was the risk of working with such heavy machinery on a constantly moving boat deck. The Alaskan king crab fishing reported more than 300 fatalities per 100,000 as of 2025, with over 80% of those deaths caused by drowning or hypothermia. It will surprise you to know that the series was not shot under good conditions. The first season was shot during the final year of the Derby-style king crab fishery. Other subsequent seasons have been set after a change to the quota system as part of a process known as rationalization. Under the old Derby style, a large number of crews competed with each other to catch crabs during a restrictive time window. Under the new individual fishing quota system, established owners, such as those depicted in the series, have been allocated quotas that they can fill at a more leisurely pace. In theory, it was meant to be safer, which was the main rationale for the change in fishing rules. The transition to the quota system was also expected to increase the value of crab by limiting the market for available crab. Later, during the 2006 season, an influx of foreign crab negated some of the gains. The rationalization process put many crews out of work because the owners of many small boats found their assigned quotas too small to meet operating expenses. During the first season run under the IFQ system, the fleet shrank from over 250 boats to about 89 larger boats with high quotas. Life on the show has not been easy for the fishermen. One of the series' main features is the portrayal of the harsh life at sea, which includes the behavior and mannerisms of the fishermen engaged in a hazardous lifestyle with little tolerance for poor performance or ineptitude. Many of the series' shows also featured greenhorn fishermen who are usually the brunt of harsh criticism and sometimes bullying by veteran deckhands. Also, in another case, a new fisherman entered a ship's bridge to berate his captain for what he saw as unfair comments. Unfortunately for him, he was fired as soon as the ship returned to port. Later, in another filmed incident, there was a fight on board the fishing vessel Wizard in which a greenhorn sailor sucker punched a veteran fisherman who had been engaged in harassment and bullying. Once again, the greenhorn was fired as soon as the ship arrived at port, leading to mixed reactions from fans of the show. The reality series is more popular and interesting, and they decided to make Behind the Scenes. In the Behind the Scenes special, insights into how the program is produced were revealed. A two-person TV crew also lives on each boat profiled. Production has not been easy, and it was tiring and very demanding. The production crew uses handheld Sony HVR Z5U and HVR Z7U HDV cameras to shoot most of the series. They placed one on the main deck and another one in the wheelhouse. Additional footage was provided, captured by 4 stationary cameras permanently mounted around the ship that constantly record. To improve the production, shots were taken from various advantageous points outside the boat. This was achieved through a variety of methods, including the use of a helicopter for footage near the harbor and a cameraman on a chase boat. In Season 1, the main chase boat was the F/V Time Bandit, and the crew also makes use of underwater cameras, including one attached to a crab pot for a crab's eye view of the pot being retrieved in Season 2. One was mounted in the main crab tank, while the other was mounted to a submersible watercraft beginning in Season 3. Later, the Season 9 Behind the Lens special showcases 2 additional filming methods: divers near the boats and on the bottom of Dutch Harbor for the King Crab Fleet's departure. Another method they use is a helicopter with a belly-mounted turret camera. It was the same one that was used to film scenes in Skyfall. The audio was also recorded using wireless microphones worn by the fishermen and shotgun microphones attached to the cameras. They also experienced some issues during production. Because of a lack of space on the boats, the crews do not have an audio mixer on board. Also, in the audio post-production, the sound team attempts to use actual sounds that were recorded on the boats. Although the equipment is carefully waterproofed, the cameras are routinely damaged by corrosion, ice, and accidents. Apart from production issues, several problems arose among the workers. Let's see what happened. Issues behind the scenes. At a point in the television series, Captain Sig Hansen of the F/V Northwestern came on board, and he served as a technical advisor to the series producers. Shooting the episodes of Deadliest Catch is a dangerous occupation, not only for the fishermen but also for the camera crews on board the boats. The issues started in the early seasons of the series. Initially, many of the camera crews had little to no experience on crab boats. They frequently encountered dangers not normally associated with shooting a documentary. F/V Northwestern Captain Sig Hansen told talk show host Jimmy Kimmel that he saved a cameraman's life during the first season. He had to scream at him to get out of the way just seconds before a 900-pound crab pot swinging from a crane crossed the space where the cameraman was standing. Later, in another incident, a serious issue was revealed in the behind-the-scenes special. In the scene, an inattentive cameraman had his leg fall through an open hatch on the deck of one of the boats when he unwittingly stepped into the hole. There, he suffered 3 broken ribs, and according to the cameraman, he had to buy a case of beer for the entire crew in compliance with the tradition on crab boats. Apart from these issues, there were interactions between the film crew and the fishermen, who occasionally appeared on the show. During an episode of Season 4, Wizard Captain Keith Colburn demanded that cameras be turned off when he got into a heated argument with his brother Monty. It got so intense, and they tried to turn off the cameras so it wouldn't be obvious to everyone. Unfortunately, in the heat of the moment, they forgot to remove their wireless mics even though the cameras were turned off. Because their mics were turned on, their hot exchange was recorded and featured in the episode. Also in Season 4, F over V, Cornelia Marie, Captain Phil Harris, asked the cameraman filming not to tell anyone else about his injuries for fear it would stall his fishing. Later on, crew member and later acting captain Murray Gamrath, concerned about his well-being, asked a cameraman to keep an eye on him and report any problems to him. More issues arose during filming. During Season 5, something tragic occurred. Jake Anderson lost his sister. However, the camera crews on the Northwestern were requested not to film crew member Jake Anderson being informed of his sister's death, which the camera crews honored. Later, on September 28, 2010, it was reported that 3 of the principal captains featured throughout the series' run, the brothers Andy and Jonathan Hillstrand and Sig Hansen, would not return to the show due to litigation initiated by Discovery Communications involving the Hillstrands. Later, on October 8, 2010, it was announced that the 3 captains had reached an agreement with the Discovery Channel and would return for the 7th season. Things got very emotional on the set when they lost an important member to the jaws of death. On January 29, 2010, as original productions crew shot footage for Season 6 of the F over V Cornelia Marie offloading C. opilio crab at St. Paul Island, Captain Phil Harris, who had earlier complained of being excessively tired, went to his stateroom to retrieve pain medicines and collapsed after suffering a stroke. He was lying on the floor until second-year engineer Steve Ward discovered him on the floor of his stateroom. He was conscious but unable to move his left leg or his left hand. When Ward saw him, he immediately summoned his sons, Josh and Jake, to his stateroom while he called for paramedics. According to Tom Beers, producer and creator of Deadliest Catch, Harris had insisted that the camera crews continue to film him. "We want to remember Phil as who he was," Beers told ZappedWhite.com writer Kate O'Hare. "We want to remember all the dynamics, but at the same time, the guy was persistent when we were doing this, saying, 'Dude, you've got to. We've got to have an end to the story about the strength and resiliency of familial bonds, especially the father or son bond. You want to film this? Film this?'" He further shared that he honored Harris's wishes and continued to shoot as Harris was airlifted to Anchorage, Alaska. This was where doctors performed emergency brain surgery to relieve the pressure building up in the cranial vault and avoid more brain damage. Harris spent 11 days in the ICU before succumbing to complications from his stroke on February 9, 2010. It was a tragic loss for everyone, but the show had to move on. During his funeral, the Soul Rebels Brass Band performed a New Orleans-style jazz for him on After the Catch. With Deadliest Catch, Challenges and Struggles, came a positive reception and criticism. According to reports, Deadliest Catch draws consistently high ratings for the Discovery Channel. However, the Season 3 of the show attracted more than 49 million viewers throughout the season, and over 3 million viewers per first-run episode, making it one of 2007's most successful programs on cable TV. Further analysis revealed that the overall ratings for Season 6 exceeded those of Season 5 by more than 10%. As a result, Deadliest Catch regularly won its primetime time slot. The ratings for the season opener, Slow Burn, drew a record of 4.6 million viewers on June 22, 2010, blown off course. According to the statistics, the first of 5 episodes that dealt with Phil Harris's stroke and its impact drew 5.2 million viewers. This was a 10% increase over Slow Burn. On July 13, 2010, they decided to release an episode, Redemption Day, which dealt with the death of Harris at its close. This set another record audience for the show with 8.5 million viewers, making the episode the 3rd most viewed broadcast in the Discovery Channel's history. Later in 2016, the New York Times study of the 50 TV shows with the most Facebook likes found that Deadliest Catch was most popular in areas that are rural, cold, and close to the sea, particularly Alaska and Maine. Later, in 2011, Matt Zoller Seitz also praised the reality series as a reality program that is truly a documentary series about the toll taken by relentless physical labor, and stated that other series trying to emulate it, such as Ice Road Truckers and Swamp People, tend to miss the atmosphere and deep attention to psychology that make this series so special. This was how well the people loved and regarded Deadliest Catch, the confessions.
Did you get to the newsroom destination here this morning?
No.
At a point in Sig Hansen's career, he nearly caused a huge disaster for Deadliest Catch when he started opening up about many of his challenges. Let's hear what he has to say. At 59, Sig had spent decades and a huge chunk of his life working through the brutal and icy waters of the Bering Sea. In an interview with Fox News Digital, Sig shared that it was not only the storms and freezing temperatures that put his life at risk. There were other dangers associated with his work. He continued by sharing bluntly the dangerous decisions he had made while he was at sea. On one occasion, he took a call driven by ego that nearly cost him everything. Sig remarked, "Well, it was the icing down that was ego-driven. And when you are ego-driven, and you're worried if you want to make more money and your greed is thinking more than your common sense, it's not good." Now that's a real confession. Later, Sig reflected on a career that was full of high-stakes decisions and even higher consequences. Despite surviving some of the most treacherous fishing conditions, he admitted that there were moments he would never stop regretting. He shared, "There's a lot of regret. I mean, good Lord, I had a heart attack at sea. Maybe I should have hung up the spurs a long time ago, and to a fisherman it's always that one bad season, right? So there are a lot of regrets, made a lot of mistakes, but we've been fortunate. Haven't lost anybody and everybody's okay, so that's good." Apart from this, he had a near-tragic moment when he joined Deadliest Catch at the beginning. He shared bluntly that the experience still haunts him to date. During his early years, he made a mistake that led to a crew member's serious injury. Sig said, "There was one guy who got hurt. I won't say the name. That was many years ago. I think I was like 27, 28 years old. It was after a storm. I saw the wave coming, and then I didn't manage to hit the alarm to notify him. When it hit him, it knocked him clean across the deck, and he really did damage to his back." After the incident, the crew member recovered and made a full recovery from the injury. Though the crew member went back to fishing, the accident shook Sig, and he couldn't get it off his mind. He shared, "Sometimes you're not talking minutes, you are talking seconds to where things can happen. It did, and I learned a valuable lesson." He added that his takeaway from that boating accident was not to be distracted in the wheelhouse. This kept him on his toes all the time. It was that one split second you take it for granted, and that's what happened. And after that, I never played music up there ever again, at least while I'm fishing. Despite his decades of experience under his belt, the ocean continued to humble him and teach him new things every single day. He learned another huge lesson of his life during a terrifying moment when his boat began to ice over in sub-zero conditions. In his career, he also had a fire accident. It was a moment caught on camera, and it became even more intense because his daughter, Mandy, was on board. He shared this with Fox News Digital. "We had a fire on board. My daughter was with us, and so that really is frightening. I keep thinking back. Had that fire broken out like an hour earlier, I think we would have been in big, big trouble. Luckily, on that day, the crew was alert and ready, or it would have been a mess." Sig explained in the interview, "We managed because the guys were so attentive, and when the fire broke out, they were already ready to start fishing on deck, but they had just been in their bunk sleeping." Sig also admitted that his time at sea not only tested his physical endurance, but also his heart. At one point in his career, he suffered a heart attack that nearly took his life. It was a serious health scare, and it affected him for a little while. During that period, he was also battling with the tragic loss of the F/V destination in 2017. With so many tragic events happening around him, he contemplated many times whether it was time for him to walk away from the ocean completely. However, since then, he has been more cautious and more aware of what is at stake, as he told Fox News Digital what retirement may look like for him in the future. He shared, "I've been thinking about it ever since. More fearful when you put pots on the boat, more fearful for everybody else. And then you start thinking, my wife has spent decades waiting for me. Why not give the last whatever I got to her? That's what I'm doing." During his health scare, Sig also shared that one of his fears was about his family and loved ones. The heart attack made him realize the reality of life. "Honestly, with family, it actually opened my eyes," Hansen candidly said. "I mean, I want to spend more time with them, and it's like you do have more of an appreciation. You do see things differently with age and all that. If you're a terrible father, you want to be a better father," he reflected. "And then if you can't be a better father, now you're a good grandfather. So you're trying to make up for all this lost time." Apart from the heart attack, Sig also shared how he nearly lost his life on another occasion. "I was going to take the boat to Seattle. It's about a 7-day trip," Hansen recalled. On that day, what saved him was that his brother offered to handle the voyage, allowing him to fly home early, and this was one decision he would never forget in his life. Before they left, he took a hard fall on the ice and hit his nose. Instead of attending to the pain, he brushed it off and flew home. He waited a day in Dutch Harbor before he continued his journey. Unfortunately, the moment he got back, things changed for the worse. "I woke up and I had an infection and my face looked just like it was swollen," he said. "It was like a golf ball out of my nostril." An alarmed Hansen shouted to his wife, "Did you poison me?" She replied, "No, we've got to get you to the hospital." When they arrived at the hospital, he was immediately attended to, and the doctors administered antibiotics promptly. She said basically, another few hours you'd be gone. When Sig heard this, he was scared and realized that if he had been at sea, he most likely wouldn't have survived. Later, in Season 21 of Deadliest Catch, Sig teamed up with returning Captain Jonathan Hillstrand, and the two of them headed to the abandoned Afak Island in search of a rumored giant king crab. This was Sig's way of telling the public that he wasn't letting go of Deadliest Catch so easily, and the journey continues. What do you think about Sig Hansen? Do you believe he went too extreme in sharing the challenges he faced in Deadliest Catch? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos displayed on your screen.